The Technical, Entrepreneurial and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TEVETA, was established in 1999 by an Act of Parliament with the mandate to promote, facilitate and regulate the sustainable provision of quality technical, entrepreneurial and vocational education and training for the Malawian workforce in a socially responsible manner. The organization has a secretariat in Lilongwe and 3 implementation arms called Regional Service Centers in Blantyre, Nzuzu and Lilongwe. As a way of promoting and facilitating the sustainable provision of TVET, TEVETA currently has 3 training windows, namely formal apprenticeship program, which is provided in technical colleges to Malawians with the Malawi School Certificate of Education, using the Competence-Based Education and Training Methodology, CBET, which is a practical-based method of training. Secondly, there is Informal Sector Skills Development Program, which is skills training aimed at equipping youth and disadvantaged groups in local communities to enable them become employable through wage or self-employment. It is also delivered using the CBET approach. Public and Private Sector Training Program. This is training provided to TVET level compliant employers by addressing skills and performance gaps at the workplace to increase productivity and delivery of good quality products and services. In fulfilling its regulatory function, TEVETA provides oversight on quality assurance, curriculum development and development of teaching, learning and assessment materials, and certification of TVET graduates. Quality and relevance is an aspect of quality assurance through the regulatory role of the TVET authority. This entails putting in place a TVET system that ensures that quality is achieved through enforcement of relevant standards and that all TVET programs are demand-driven to accord relevance. TVET is committed to complementing government's effort in equipping youths with vocational skills to ensure that this energetic group effectively contributes towards the country's economic growth. With the introduction of Community Technical Colleges program, championed by His Excellency the President, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika, TEVETA has welcomed the development, putting into consideration that this will empower the youth with relevant vocational skills.
The purpose of the colleges is to provide employable skills to the youth. By providing employable skills, we have begun the process of creating decent jobs for the youth and for many Malawians. Community colleges and the skills development program are important pillars of our vision. The creation of a skilled labor force is a necessary step toward the development of this country. No country develops without a skilled labor force. Community colleges are one way of investing in the development of human capital. The human capital is the single most important capital. Human capital is the beginning point of any civilization. Without a well-developed human capital, other natural resources cannot be effectively put to use. Our economy will grow tremendously if most of the labor force is skilled.
In complementing government's noble task of imparting skills to Malawians through these community technical colleges, TEVETA plays several roles, such as supporting government through the provision of training equipment in these colleges so that students have both theoretical knowledge and practical experience in their chosen trades. Additionally, TEVETA, as a quality assurance body, in as far as TVET is concerned, ensures that the courses being taught are of relevant curricula and quality so that they provide employable skills. It is a fact that the skills gained in this program will enable them to venture into a kind of entrepreneurship of their choice, thereby ensuring that they are financially self-reliant. Government is currently constructing 10 community technical colleges throughout the country. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Labour, Youth, Sports and Manpower Development, Joseph Mwandidia, says the ministry is expecting to have all the 28 colleges operational by the end of this year. Graduates from community technical colleges in the country received startup tools worth 167 million kwacha, as promised by the head of state when he presided over the graduation ceremony of the first cohort of community college graduates in August 2017.
In my State of the Nation address this year, I promised that we are starting our jobs for the Youth Project. The Jobs for the Youth Project is a complement idea of community colleges. We're beginning with providing entrepreneurship training, and we follow up with provision of startup capital to support you to venture into businesses. And we begin this year. In addition, we'll give tools to our graduate students in order for them to hit the ground running, and we're beginning in the next 3 months. As a global champion for youth myself, I want us to empower the youth in this country. That is how we want to take the youth forward. That's how we want to take Malawi forward.
These are tools for 627 graduates who successfully completed their training in all the community technical colleges.
This is what the head of state promised, and this has already happened. When the head of state said, young people, I'm going to give you the startup equipment, and at the same time, I'm also going to give you the startup capital.
According to the executive director of TEVETA, Wilson Magulumiza-Nkoma, the fulfillment of the promise to provide the tools is a boost to their students, and as an authority, they will make sure that they find means of sustaining the trend.
We will have to source funds to make sure that this continues. If it will not continue in the way it has happened, but definitely we'll make sure that the subsequent groups also receive tools in one way or another.
One of the beneficiaries, Zione Grevazio, says the tools will help her materialize her dream of being self-employed. The tools that have been commissioned are of different trades, such as bricklaying, carpentry and joinery, fabrication and welding, among others. This is Senga Model Primary School in Dowa District, where pupils are learning various vocational skills. The initiative has been made possible with the help of TEVETA. Executive Director of the organization, Wilson Magulumiza-Nkoma, says TVET programs are supposed to be implemented across the board, but the lower levels of learning have been neglected for long. He said his organization, therefore, is trying to revive what used to be there in the late 1970s when primary schools had vocational training centers. He also says they have already carried out a survey on the state of vocational centers across the country so as to expand the project in all the districts.
The aim is to expose the youth while they are still young to aspects of technical and vocation so that as they grow up, they can make informed choices as to what they want to do. Oftentimes, we introduce vocational skills at a later stage. But here at Senga, these trainees, these pupils have been introduced to technical and vocational skills at the very, very early stage. And we believe having that exposure, they'll be able to utilize that, either choosing to go into it as a career or just have the skill that enable them to produce something at the end of the day and earn a living.
Head teacher of the school, Justin Mvula, says learners are responding well to the training.
The response of these learners is very good. Most of the learners are even coming during weekends to do some practices of joinery and carpentry. So I think the response is very good.
Technical, Entrepreneurial and Vocational Education and Training Authority, TEVETA, has also intensified skills training among different groups in the country. One of its activities was to train 80 wives of police officers for 6 months to enable them acquire skills that will empower their livelihood. The wives obtained skills in baking and tailoring. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Cecilia Jazama, who presided over the graduation ceremony, says government will make sure that skills development is prioritized in all sectors to steer socio-economic development among all age groups, and that this sort of training is a welcome development to the efforts that government is undertaking, bearing in mind that women are always at the heart of a home. Alieth Tandi Jose, who is the spouse to the Inspector General of the Malawi Police Service, says the women who are trained will have the capacity to do tailoring and bakery business in a standard that will satisfy the market. Jose indicated that wives of police officers have been doing different activities as a social welfare activity, but lacked skills development that can promote their businesses. The training is expected to uplift the women economically with a donation of 20 sewing machines, cloth, and other related materials amounting to 4 million kwacha to act as a starter pack for their venture. Wilson Magulumiza has expressed his satisfaction with the involvement of women in skills development.
As you are aware, the TEVETA sector is predominantly male-dominated, and you are also aware that in Malawi, the majority of our tailors are men, and for training these women, we've empowered them to live a productive life instead of just staying in the homes. You see, in the police service, most of the times women are at home when men, the police officers, have gone out there in the field, and we thought this is an opportune time that when they get trained, they'll be utilizing this time when the men are out there working to be doing some productive work.
Wilson Magulumiza encouraged the women to acquire skills, saying his organization is ready to help. He, however, called for private companies and government to honor their 1% labor contribution in form of TEVETA levy to enable TEVETA reach out to more people.
We would have loved to train everybody. That's what I can say, because it pains us to see a lot of people out there in the villages just loitering around and with no skill. And if we had all the resources, we would be organizing programs to train everybody. But because of the limitation, we are limited, and we train those that we can train within the available resources.
It is a fact that with efforts by government and organizations like TEVETA, issues of large numbers of youths who are unemployed will be history in a few years to come. Young people need hands-on experience to fit in this modern world, and it is a fact that government has taken the steps to ensure that Malawian youths are at par with the rest of the world.